Okay, so once we have a request that effectively has been completed, we, as the requester, may want to go find the details of what was actually provisioned for us based upon this request. So in order to do that, as the end user, we'll go to our menu in the upper right-hand corner and go to Services and Assets. And immediately upon going to Services and Assets, we'll see some subscriptions as well as services and assets. Subscriptions being the key thing here, especially for aggregated offerings. This is a mechanism used to track the dates associated, as we mentioned earlier, along with the actual details of things that were provisioned. So we can see by clicking on the subscription that we created, here we can see that there was no initial chargeback components. We can see a start date and end date, right? The details of the description. We can see that the owner is Bob, the agent. That was the person who submitted the request. Depending on how you're following things through, this may be somebody different. It's really the person who submitted the request is the owner of the subscription. You can see what was ordered and the service offering there, as well as the request history. One of the things we can do is our actions, and this will get into day 2 actions a little bit as well. But if we go to the actions menu and manage our service instance, we'll be able to get to some details additionally. So these are components of the subscription effectively that got created. We can see immediately that we have one server that is in one server group. We can see that, a little bit of detail about the instance, in this case, that was created, the cloud resource that was created. We get an ID for it, which those familiar with AWS know that that's an instance ID, most likely for an EC2 instance, and it's in the US East region in availability zone East 1B. So that gets us a little bit of information. If we click on Workshop Jenkins, we actually drill into more details. And these are details that come back, in this case, from AWS, from the cloud provider, straight into the solution here. So we look at, again, we have our availability zone, our cloud instance ID, the disk size, we get a host name, we get an IP address. In this case, this resource was provisioned with a public IP address. We can see that at least at the last point in time it was running. We get a MAC address and we get a primary DNS name here as well. We can see the region there, the subnet, and the type of OS image is a Windows image. You can take other actions here at this point as well that we'll get into in future video. But this is the details effectively that get pulled back.